Welcome to Sleepless Readings. Tonight we'll be reading a tale called Trip to the Cabin. The brisk autumn air rushed into the car as I lowered the window. The night sky was peaceful, and I was already starting to feel the comforting embrace of sleep overtake me. We'd been driving for hours. I decided it was time to take a trip when the news started to report a murder during a break-in at the local cemetery. The reports were horrifically graphic, haunting even. But still, they went on for a week before I finally made the decision to leave this city and the lunatics who lived here behind. I wasn't going to risk someone taking my innocent Casey. So, deciding to frame it as a fun time for her, rather than laying the horrors of the world at her feet, I told her we were going on a trip. My family owns a cottage out in the woods, hardly more than a 2-day drive from our hometown, and I thought it would be a great place to stay until I found our family a new home. Her mother was already there, after all. After some time, we finally reached an empty rest stop. Living in a so-called flyover state meant not many existed, and those that did never saw much traffic. "Just wait here a minute, Casey. I'll be right back," I said as I looked over my shoulder, smiling. Her relaxed posture let me know she was still fast asleep. The pay station was right next to us. I wasn't planning on leaving her unattended, but as I walked up, I saw a blinking red light. Damn it, I thought as I looked across the lot. Only a few feet away, no need to risk waking her by starting the car. I loved my Mustang, but whenever it starts up, there's no keeping it quiet no matter how hard you try. "I'll just walk over, really quick," I said to myself as I made my way to the payment kiosk. I tossed in some change and took my slip before turning back. My blood ran cold as I saw what looked like a man peering into the open window into the back seat. My instinct was to yell, but instead I made my way quickly and quietly to them. What happened next left the man limping away. He tried to scream at me, threatened me with a knife, telling me that he was taking her, that he would call the police. For what? For letting my little girl sleep while I paid to park? The creep sprinted away after it was all settled. Typical, I thought to myself. After the incident, I decided not to call the police. The blood on my hands made me worry I'd be seen as a suspect rather than a defensive father. Instead, I drove to a secluded and partially hidden part of the lot and tried to get some rest, knowing it wasn't safe for me to be on the road. My fear was confirmed when I heard sirens screaming down the highway. I watched as the brilliant lights passed us. No use in worrying if they're not looking for anyone here. We're safe. And with that comforting thought, I finally fell asleep. I woke up to a scratching sound on the back passenger side of the vehicle. Checking my phone for the time, I see it's 3:01 a.m. I turned back, expecting to see her awake, but she was still sleeping soundly. My heart skipped as I saw a black vehicle in front of the lot. There were at least 3. I realized it wasn't an animal, and it certainly wasn't my daughter. I couldn't finish my sentence before the rear passenger door opened. A man glared at me as a flash of metal quickly went by, and he raised a gun, yelling at me and reaching for my sweet Casey. Terrified of him taking my daughter, I hit him with the steering wheel lock before he could react. He reeled back as blood trickled from his forehead, and I started the car, speeding out of the lot. I looked over my shoulder, terrified that she had woken up to the brutal scene and the piercing sounds and lights behind us. But to my relief, she was still lying there, eyes closed. A slight smile tugged at my lips as I looked ahead. "Nothing will happen to you, I promise. Once we get to the cabin, you'll be so happy." I sighed softly as I moved my small backpack to the floor. The sound of metal and plastic falling made me chuckle as I reached down and picked up the shovel and pick that I knocked over. I'm still tired, but that's okay because she is still fast asleep. I looked back at her again, hating that I had to be away for so long. She lay there sleeping, so deeply that I knew nothing would disturb her. Her skin having lost its color a long time ago, though I'm not sure why. Her hair only remaining in patches. Your uncle tried to tell me you were gone, but they didn't understand. The funeral, the police, they're wrong. They want to take you, just like they wanted to take your mother, but I won't let them. We just have to get to the cabin. Your mother is waiting for you, isn't that exciting? I looked back once again and smiled. She looked so peaceful, sleeping like that, just like her mother. Thank you for listening. That was Trip to the Cabin. Don't forget to like the video, it does help to boost the channel.
There's new stories every Sunday.
Not to mention the shorts on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
So subscribe.
And ring the bell.
Thanks, guys. And, as always, stay sleepless.